Ellie. Good morning.
How are you?
How are you? You look beautiful as usual.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
This is our board president from Iran.
Wow.
یکم زوده هنوز نیومدن.
So do you know Mohammed Marandi?
Oh yeah, everybody knows him. the reporter.
Yeah. I've heard him a few times on the socialist program, and he's really amazing.
I think our friend Dariush Sajjadi is even better.
You think your friend what?
Dariush Sajjadi is even better, but he only speaks Farsi.
Ah.
Hi, good morning.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hi, Rick.
Hi. Hi, Ellie and let's see, Nuri. Good. I'm Rick. I'm going to be helping you with all of this stuff. Ellie, or I got your email last night or early this morning. I think I think you probably have a pretty good thing set up. The only thing you might want to think about is you guys are going to be presenting for 30 to 45 minutes, right? And if there were no introductions, if there were anything like that, if you're going to show 60 some odd slides, that's only going to leave you 30 seconds per slide to be able to talk about it.
Yeah, some of them are just visual. I go past them. Some Nuri may have something to say about it, and we stop.
Right.
A brief introduction by Nuri, and
Right.
we stop when you tell us to stop.
Well, I will, but I also want you to be conscious of where you are in your presentation too. So yeah, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, just think about, like, you probably want to be very brief on all of them. Did you want, so are you going to be doing, is it just going to be you doing the slides, Ellie?
Right. Yes, but Nuri may have things to say about some of them.
Right. So what we're going to do now is test your ability to share the slides. So
Okay.
I just made you co-host.
Okay. So here's my slide.
Okay. And there's no sound on these at all.
No, it's just us talking, except how do I scroll through them?
Well, yeah, that's why we got to practice that. You probably want to click on the side of one of those slides and you should be able to do that.
I gotta go to the original slide then. Oh, that takes more time. Can you see this one?
Mm-hmm. We're looking at it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have to get out of Zoom. That's the problem. Okay, well, we'll figure it out.
Well, I want to do that before we start, because otherwise it's going to be kind of a lot of fun for me to try and edit. So, yeah, you can get into your slideshow and, you can take a look there on how to go back and forth. So can you go to your slideshow?
Well, if I can stay there, then I can. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see that I'm changing or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that works.
Okay, that's the big thing that we wanted to test here. Okay.
Let's see.
Rick.
Hello.
Hi. I have a Hi, this is McGregor. I have a proposal to make the introduction shorter. Don't have me introduce them. You just introduce them the way you normally do, and then who they are will speak for themselves. Just skip me, because that way we have a tighter
Oh,
beginning.
that's fine. It's not, normally an introduction is just going to be a minute or two anyway, so that's not going to be anything. Besides, I'd like to, it'd be good for you to be able to give the context.
Then I'm willing and able. Got
Okay,
it. Be very short. Got it. Okay.
no worries.
Yes. Yes, I like that. Can you hear me, Rick?
Yep.
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
Is it Ellie? And
Yes.
okay, Ellie and Nuri.
Right.
Okay, great. My name's Rebecca. I'll be facilitating today.
Can we stop sharing it for the moment so that we can see each other?
Okay. Am I blocking you? Okay. Hold on. Stop share. All right. Here we go.
What's that? She said Rebecca.
So we got about 5 minutes before we start. This is our socializing time and making sure our technology is working, our audio, our video.
One thing to think about too is, I think I sent out in the emails, if there's anything that you want to share, like a action that you want people to work on for the groups that you're involved in, just let them know. If you have a link for people to do that action that you can put in the chat, that would be great.
May I briefly introduce a couple of ladies from our group that showed up and may have to leave soon?
Yeah. Let me just very briefly, how the normals run of things is about 7:35 we start these programs. We introduce Rebecca will open the program. They'll introduce all of the speakers to you, and so they not only can acknowledge themselves, but you will know the other people that are joining you on the program. We have a few short announcements. Then Father Chris Panett will do a reflection, and then we'll go into your program. And so McGregor will introduce you. And I think at that point, if you want to introduce the other folks that are on your program, that makes it flow a little bit better. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Great. We'll start in about 2 minutes here.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance. I was going to play some Persian music CDs that I had just as ambiance, but I'll leave that.
So Steve is not joining today?
No, he's in Nashville.
Oh, nice.
They don't have internet in Nashville?
Well, they have internet, but he's also got a life.
Oh, really?
What's he doing?
I think his daughter-in-law or daughter is graduating from maybe Vanderbilt, I think.
Wow. Is Father Chris here?
Not yet. That's why I sent those emails out. I didn't hear back from him. So
I didn't realize. I saw your email when you sent it, but I didn't see it down below that it was asking me if I was going to be on until last night when I read it again.
So Rebecca, if he doesn't show up on time, we can just kind of gloss over that, and then I'll just say that we'll have his reflection at the end.
At the end, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to play at least one CD.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love that CD.
Azam. Yeah. Do you guys know Azam Ali?
Oh,
No.
she's so
Uh,
amazing.
she's a singer and writer in LA, and of Persian descent. And um,
And
I
she sings in Farsi, Arabic, English, French, Latin,
yeah,
and sometimes just voice.
she was in a group called Axiom of Choice, which is really good as well. Maybe I'll try and play him at the end as our outro.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, it is 7:35, so why don't we get started? As Rick said, we start out by doing brief introductions of ourselves. So I will start. I will be facilitating today. My name is Rebecca Arvizu. I'm a board member. I'm an animal welfare advocate, social justice advocate, intellectual property and technology attorney. I volunteer with Jewish Voice for Peace and Code Pink, and I sing with the Agape International Choir. So with that, I will go to Carol Francis and then McGregor.
All right. I'm Carol Francis Likens. I'm a board member, ICUJP, retired teacher. I'm a writer, and I volunteer with Justice for Palestine LA, Educators for Justice in Palestine, and the Harriet Tubman Center.
Great, thank you. And then we'll go to McGregor and Rick.
Yes, my name is McGregor Eddy. My nickname is Greg. I live in Salinas, California. I came here 50 years ago to work for the Cesar Chavez United Farm Workers, and I am honored to be a board member here. I want to warn you, Nuri and Ellie, that I came to speak here and they gave me so much support that I'm now a board member. So be careful. These people are wonderful and you're going to want to keep to know them. Want to make a statement here. I have worked all my life against one war after another. Now I want to prevent war and work for peace. I think we can stop this threatened war, and I'm so glad to be with you people to talk about peace and friendship with the people of Iran. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll go to Rick and Dawn.
Hi, I'm Rick. I'm the communications and social media person for ICJP, and it's good to see you all this morning. Thank you.
Great. Dawn and then Swan.
Yeah, I'm Don. I'm up here in Santa Cruz, California, just south of San Francisco. I'm in the NAACP. I'm with Men Overcoming Abusive Behaviors and on the board of ICUJP. And I'm going next Friday, I'll be leaving to the Middle East to do some service work.
Wow.
Oh, great. And then Swanji.
I'm Swantje Wilms. I live in Irvine now. I'm attending Mariners Church and volunteering there with the thrift store. And I'm also involved in sustainability related things around the neighborhood. I'm still a little bit active in Pasadena because I used to live there for a long time as well.
Right. So Nuri and Ellie, we're going to ask you to give very brief introductions of yourself, but we'll give a more detailed introduction of you before you start speaking. So we'll go to Nuri.
Nuri and Alan, I put you on mute because there was some background noise, so you can take yourself off mute and introduce yourselves. While they figure that out, Ellie, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I think we're all.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hi. Thank you for the invite. It's a pleasure to be in your group and introduce what Nuri kick-started a movement with a trip to Iran by 5 people, myself, Nuri, Alan, Adelia, who is not here now, and Dariush Sajjadi, who is a renowned journalist, Iranian journalist, well connected. We took a trip to Iran, all ideas by Nuri, funded by Nuri. This is her legacy. So I wish she could fix that microphone and talk more about this.
I think she has. So let's go to her and then Alan. I'm sorry, we'll have Nuri and Alan give brief introductions and then we'll give a more detailed introduction of you before you speak.
Thank you so much. I'm Nuri Ranegi. I have been in United States last 60 years, and I have been member of WILF. I was member of American Soviet Friendship Society and member of Iranian Student Association.
Oh, wow.
I was very young when CIA carried coup d'etat in Iran. And I remember the events that we will talk a little bit.
Great, thank you. And Alan?
Yes, my name is Alan Shorb. I'm here mostly as the spouse of Nuri here. I've been wanting to go to Iran for quite a while, but we visited Ellie in Costa Rica last summer, and somehow during that conversation, the idea of visiting Iran came up, and mostly kicked off by Ellie's observation that the World Economic
Forum right,
consistently had Iran, the status of women in Iran, surveyed in about 150 countries. Iran was consistently third or fourth from the bottom. Now, we knew that the education level of women in Iran and also the responsibilities that women held in Iran made that not so believable. And the idea of establishing a section of WILF, Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, came up, and then having a delegation there, and we will talk more about that delegation later today. Yes.
Great. Thank you, Alan. Okay, so we're going to go now. We're doing introductions. Father Chris, if you could introduce yourself, and then we'll go to Zara.
Father Chris Panett, pastor of St. Camillus, part of ICJP's board, Pax Christi, Death Penalty Focus. Good morning.
Thank you. And then Zara.
Hi. So do you have my voice? Because the internet in this area is so bad.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm very glad to see you all guys. I'm Zahra Yahyapour, a member of Iran WILF communications and group. I'm a lifeguard and swim instructor, and I'm 22 years old. And I'm really happy to be here. And thank you, dear Ellie and dear Nuri, to inviting me, and my co-worker to here. And he's on the way. Sorry, she's on the way. And I don't have anything. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for coming today and welcome. Okay, so then we let's go to Michael Novick, and then we'll go to Modest.
Yeah, hi. This is Michael Novick with Anti-Racist Action, and been on the board here previously, but my attendance has been pretty sporadic since my experiences in the KPFK. But I didn't want to miss the chance to hear from Nuri, who I really appreciate. And so, not very presentable this morning, but I'm listening.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. We'll go to Modé. I hope I'm saying your name right, or you can tell me how to say it. And then next we'll go to Jasmine.
I'll change this.
You mean Mojde?
Modé. Okay. Thank you.
Mojde, please open you're on mute. Introduce yourself.
Oh, yes, she is. Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry because I have a poor connection. I'm in the car. Actually, I want to introduce myself. I'm Mojde Radpour, and I have been working as a medical neuroscience research assistant at Pasteur Institute of Iran for almost 10 years. And I'm so happy that I'm here in this meeting. And thank you, Ellie June and Nuri June, for inviting me in this meeting. And I'm looking forward to learning from you all of your experiences, actually.
Great.
She's a board member.
Oh, okay, great. Well, thank you. Welcome. Then
Thank you so much for having me in this meeting.
Thank you. We will go to Jasmine to introduce herself, and then Layla.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. She's driving. Nice to meet
Oh, no, she's driving.
She's driving. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I see JP board member, Christian scientist, peace mom, and looking forward to the presentation. Thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. We'll go to Layla and then Fatima.
I may have to help them with translation. لیلا جون میکروفون تو باز کن، تصویرتم باز کن، سلام کن. لیلا قائمی and فاطمه مدهنی، تصویرتون رو باز کنی میکروفون. Okay, لیلا.
Yes, there she.
She's our board president. Leila Qaemi, are you muted? Mutey?
No, she was speaking while you were speaking, so.
وقتتون بخیر. من لیلا قائمیم. خیلی خوشحالم که این جلسه هستم.
She's Leila Qaemi, our board president. She's an accountant, currently sales manager and author of 6 books.
Oh, thank you very much.
Super active lady. So is Fatemeh Madhani. Fatemeh.
Said I'm happy I'm here.
Hi.
سلام همگی، من فاطمه مدهنی هستم. خوشحالم در جمعتونم و تو حوزه معماری کار کردم.
Great.
Fatemeh Madhani is an architect, super active person. Currently we're working on examining a human rights report about Iran. We're going through each and every preface, every sentence, and we're going to make some responses, recommendations, so on and so forth. Thank you.
Great. Welcome to both of you, Layla and Fatima. And thank you, Ellie, for translating. Okay, so then we have now Anthony, I believe that's you, that joined us. Can you introduce yourself?
Morning, everybody. I'm Anthony Manousis, co-founder of Making Housing and Community Happen, and I'm sorry my camera is not working today, so I'll try to fix it, but it's good to be here.
Great, thank you. Okay, so I want to remind everyone in the meeting invite that you received, it was an email that there are some links there that tell you, what we've done in the past as far as these Friday forums and also some of the in-person events that we have participated in. But there's also a link there so you can donate and help us continue providing these programs. So please, check out that email for more information about ICU-JP. This time I want to ask, are there any announcements about ICU JP events? Okay.
Now, I mean, we're planning a few different things for the fall, and in the next week or two, we'll be announcing a little fundraising program. And if you are new people, if you'd like to be on the mailing list, there's a tab on that invite that you all got that actually you can take a look at that and do that. Also in the chat, I put a link tree for ICUJP. It has a lot of information on articles and books and links to movies that people have been that have presented ICUJP previously. Also some worksheets on things like talking to your congressperson about what's going on in various parts of the world, whether it's Gaza or anywhere else. So please check that out. And we really appreciate all the new people being here as well.
Yes, and I do want to say also that we are planning an action for Saturday, June 28th. So hold your calendar, 10 a.m. to noon, 12 p.m. in Santa Monica. This will be another protest that similar to what we did was in March against Tesla. We will now be focused on just protesting the oligarchy. So more to come on that, but just hold your calendars open for that date and time. And we're working with Jim Lafferty again to get those great speakers that we had from Answer and Clue, and looking to expand to include more labor. We'll also be hearing, we'll have an upcoming program from a speaker from No Tech for Apartheid. This is the group of Amazon and Google workers who were fired because they protested the Project Nimbus project that is providing technology and AI to Israel in their genocide. So more on that to come.
Also, I'm sorry if I can interject really quickly. Next week, we have lined up a great speaker from a really great venue in Los Angeles called the Theatricum Botanicum in Topanga Canyon. We have Ellen Geer, a really great actress, actor, director, heading up the Theatricum Botanicum. Her father, Will Geer, you probably know, is Papa Walton, and various actions that he took over the 60s and stuff that got him blacklisted. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting next week on all of the programs that they have going. So please join us then.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we're just running a little bit behind time, but before we go to the reflection with Father Chris, we have two new people who joined us. So can I have Dick and then Dave introduce yourselves?
Yes, I'm Dick, and I'm with Claremont United Methodist Church and the Latina Roundtable and Cobb Institute. Nice to be here. Hi, everybody.
Great, thank you.
Good morning, Dave Clennon. I'm with Justice Time.
Okay, great. Thanks. Nice to see you, Dave, again. Okay, I think I got everyone. Did everybody introduce themselves? It looks like it. So with that,
just a second. I did introduce myself. My picture's back on, but I just wanted to say I'm celebrating my 76th birthday today. So yay!
Oh, that's a big ICUJP announcement. Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Oh, to be 76 again.
Oh, to be 76.
Happy birthday!
Thanks.
We'll sing happy birthday to him at the end.
How come you look older than I am and I'm 10 years younger than you? That's not fair.
Okay, so why don't we go now to Father Chris for our reflection?
And if everybody else can go on mute, that would be great.
Yes, thank you, Rick.
So I think when we signed up for this, we were in the context of, and people had asked about how Pope Francis had just died. And, but now we also stand in a moment of the first U.S. Pope. And over the last few days with media calling for interviews, everyone wants to know his thoughts on A through Z. But more importantly for us today, I think, I would like to just briefly reflect on both Francis and Leo and their call for us to be interfaith people. In January, Francis was meeting with some interfaith folks in Albania, and he said these words: "Whenever religious leaders gather in the spirit of mutual respect and commitment together to foster a culture of encounter through dialogue, mutual understanding and cooperation, our hope for a better and a more just world is renewed and confirmed." And I think that's the gift of what we do every Friday morning, is we come together in respectful dialogue on a variety of topics, but we are there to listen and to learn, to challenge. And one of the gifts of these many years around this circle is a gathering of people with mutual respect and a commitment to themselves to foster cultural encounters, mutual renewal. And so I hope that in this moment in history, we might all be reviewing, how do I go about mutual respect and dialogue? How do I listen to the others? And this is so often so difficult in our own country right now. How do we do this to listen? And especially when it's religious voices, sadly, that are at odds with each other and almost because they're in such odds, the rest of the world says we don't want to listen to any people of faith, and it's just all discounted. And so I just invite us to think about what Francis said back in January, and he did so often throughout his years, throughout his pontificate and before he was Pope. But we also know that yesterday when Leo came out, he's still known by his friends as Bob, Bob from Accountemps or something like that, that some of my priest friends said that as of last night, the Italian pizzerias were all only making Chicago deep dish pizza by decree of the Chicago Pope. But one of the first things he said was from our Christian text, and during this season of Easter, he just repeated the words several times: "Peace be with you all." And ICJP is about peace and saying no when church leaders use faith to bless wars and violence. And so I think these are moments for all of us from various spiritual paths to think, how do I, in my daily life, bring about peace? Yesterday, he said these words, that the peace of the risen Christ unarms and disarms. And there are several translations for that will probably be written about for weeks ahead. But from a nonviolent perspective, though, he invited from his first few words that we, as a Catholic community, but as people of faith, that how do we disarm that which is violent in word, let alone in military and other means. And he says, it comes from God, God who loves us unconditionally. We still have in our ears that weak but always courageous voice of Pope Francis, who on the week of Easter called people to be disarming. So I just invite us to be aware of how we as people of faith, of different faiths, of no faith, of faith and humanity, are called to work with mutual respect as well as with peace. This morning, Pope Leo gave his first homily, and I just would like to kind of use those words to close this reflection. He talks about that the world that he's entrusted as the new Pope calls us to bear witness to a joyful faith. And so we're called to mutual respect. We're called to be people of peace, disarming. And I think that invitation for us to be a joyful presence, it's so difficult for us in these days where every 30 seconds there's a new executive order that's going after some other marginalized persons. And it's really easy for us to get into a world that gets so small and overwhelmed. And I think that gift of joy, I think one of the bantering realities of ICJP in the morning is we get to say crazy things and make fun and be light and be human, even with the boundaries of this Zoom experience. When I think of Vida, we just had her service, or Richard Salazar, or we think of Lydia Lopez, so many of the people around our circle. It was because of a joyful gathering of human beings who are trying to be in opposition to violence, but who also, the way we get there is with a joyful voice. So as we go about our day, may we consider where is our mutual interaction, communication, dialogue? How are we called to be peacemakers? And how can I bring joy into this very dysfunctional, violent world? May our day be filled with that peace.
Thank you, Father Chris. That was beautiful. I'm wearing my rosary today from was designed by a designer that the baseball players are wearing it, and I heard Pope Leo is a Chicago fan, so I think he would be able to identify this rosary.
There seems to be major differences between his brother and others on which club and which group in Chicago he supports.
I think we'll be all glad to know that I think his brother clarified that this morning, where his mom is from the north side, so she's a Cubs fan, but I guess Pope Leo's always been a White Sox fan. So yeah.
Like President Obama.
Yes, yeah. And I that kind of warms me, because if that's what the news cycle is talking about, I think there's not much controversial that they've come up with. So that's good to hear.
That's great. Okay, so before we start, I see Doc Ruby has joined, so she's not on mute. So if Ruby, can you briefly introduce yourself, and then we're going to put you on mute. If you can hear me, can you introduce yourself? Okay, so Rick, why don't we put her on mute then? I don't think she can hear us right. Oh, there she is. Okay, we can't hear you, Ruby. Oh, your phone's on mute. Yeah, you have to unmute your phone. So I think, Rick, we can mute her computer.
Oh, yes. And I'm truly blessed. I really enjoyed what Father Chris was expressing, and Rebecca. because I graduated from Loyola Marymount University, and I'm still involved in certain ways. They're pulling me in, and I just haven't gone forward with it. So thank you truly for bringing me in for what you saw yesterday. And I'm a metaphysician. I'm with I'm a peacemaker. So I graduated from a university in peace and then another one in metaphysics. Had to study at Loyola because we had to, in order to graduate, you had to go through all those religions. So yesterday was interesting for me. But anyway, now I'm just seeing the world peace. And when I say the world peace, I'm talking about the seniors, the things that are happening there for them to understand that, hey, they're still needed, and the children for what they're excited about and joining in their lives. So this is what I'm working on here, especially with this loving work of United ICUJP.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ruby. We're running a bit behind time, and but I see Randy joined us. I'd like Randy to introduce himself, and then we'll get to our speakers. Oh,
Randy Hein Lamb, All Saints Church. Sorry I haven't been able to be here with you for a while, but I'm glad to be able to join this morning.
okay, and one more. Let's have Maggie introduce herself, then we'll get to our speakers.
I'm Maggie Hutchinson. I'm a member of the Santa Monica Friends meeting, and I'm on the ICUJP board, and I'm up here visiting my favorite nephew, Carl Magruder, who has survived a terrible motorcycle accident, but who is well and healing every day, and I get to be with him for another week, and I'm a blood donor.
Great, thank you, Maggie. Okay, so now I am going to turn it over to McGregor, who will be introducing our speakers.
Hello. It is my honor to introduce Nuri Ranahi, who was co-founder of the U.S. Department of Peace and the Peace Alliance, but more importantly, is my good friend and has been arrested at Vandenberg on the anniversary of Hiroshima this last year, the 24th, very recently. So it's an honor to know her, and through her, I got to meet Ellie, who has a podcast in Farsi called Fellow Countrymen in the Shadows, to allow the voice of the Iranian diaspora to speak. There's much more about them, but I'll let them say it. And open your hearts, open your ears to the women of Iran.
Thank you so much. My name is Nuri Ranagi. I have been in the United States last 60 years, going and coming back in Iran and checking out. Recently, me and my husband, Alan Shore, right next to me, and 3 other friends, we went to Iran, which was really quite interesting because I myself didn't know how crazy Iranian women are, how free, unbelievable, how loving, we went to Iran and it was such experience. Thousands of people, children, women, men, adults, everybody gathering around us, laughing, playing, dancing, eating, inviting us to their home. We went to Tehran and then Isfahan, one of the largest cities in Iran. and one of the ancient cities. And then Shiraz, which is even more ancient. Ellie can help us with lots of picture when it is her turn. And then we went to Fasa, where I was born. Me and my family, my brother and sister, we have created about 10 schools in Shiraz, in Fasa, and in Tehran. One big school for Afghani children that are biggest refugee, about 7 million Afghanis because of the US war against Afghanistan. They have moved to Iran. Also, with the help of United States, Iran is one of the biggest opiate country coming from Afghanistan during Afghan president, the one that they are there now, they reduced opium, but when during Taliban before, they reduced and they stopped opium. But then when United States got there, the opium was spread all over Middle East. That's the gift. And refugees and sanction, US sanction against Iran. So I was a child when US coup d'etat was carried out in Iran. And I remember Tehran and Shiraz and Isfahan, places that we would hear or we would look. I myself saw blood dripping from the head of the young girls as they were shoveling them into trucks during coup d'etat. This was another gift, 1953, the first gift of US, while Mossadegh, the prime minister, trusted and America and tried to ask for support at the time that British was sanctioning and encircling militarily Iran. So these are the history and the present, unfortunately, again, going on the issue of attacking Iran. Last 30-some years, 40 years, Israel is encouraging United States to attack Iran because with sanctions and with the danger of United States attacking with what is happening in the Middle East between Pakistan and India, with the support and with the pressure of United States, unfortunately, after Russia and Ukraine, that slightly is going down. Now they are starting on, they want to go to war with Iran and also other places, Yemen, as we know. So the sad thing is that United States never learned from Vietnam and people's resistance. I wish the same thing American people awareness would come up to the level that they would know what Zionists are doing in the Middle East. And with the help of United States, of course, they say 50,000, but they say 50,000 or more getting killed in Palestine. But Ralph Nader analyzed and said that it is close to 500,000. children, men, women getting killed in Palestine. So all this tension and the issue of Syria, you all know, and before that, Libya and Iraq and Afghanistan, and what is going on in the Middle East. They are trying to destroy a whole it's a whole part of the continent of Middle East. Luckily, hopefully, BRICS coming to existence, which is mutual relationship, starts with Brazil, India, China, BRICS, India, Russia, China, and South Africa, and Iran, and so many other countries join. Hopefully, that is something that I hope that
you want to talk about our delegation.
Our delegation in Iran, we heard so much about how Iranian women are at the bottom of the respect, primarily because Iran, an Islamic country, and US and Europe anti-Islam they work so hard trying to show that how women are oppressed under Islam. Fortunately, there are so many of Iranian women right now in this show, sample of what is happening in Iran. And we decided to go there and organize and help Iranian women to show themselves to the world that who they are, what is their level of education. Before that, me and my husband did the research, and we found out that globally 84% of women in the world, they are educated. In Iran, it is 98%. And also Iranian women are really, women are 60, maybe my husband can help me,
60% of current college graduates are women in Iran. And in science, technology, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, it's 68% are women.
So we worked, and Ellie June helped a great deal, and we'll show the pictures and places that we were. And thank you so much. Any question? I am ready.
I think that there is a little bit more of the presentation, right? So, Ellie, I think you had your part and also slides, right?
Okay, so this all started with the World Economic Forum ranking Iran 143 of 147 women of Iran since 2006. It was outrageous. So we decided to go and see for ourselves. And we had an ally who's a prominent reporter and very well connected. He used to work at the State Department. He organized all of our visas. By the way, hereby, I want to invite anybody who wants to go. We can facilitate visas. People should go to Iran, should see Iran. And the reason I'm showing the pictures is also to tempt your appetite for that. So anyway, we went to Iran, well-organized trip. We had 4 meetings a day. It was 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Exhausting, but beautiful. We signed up 160 ladies. We had meetings at universities, few universities, and we had an amazing meeting at the parliament with 9 female members of the parliament, which was totally amazing. Okay, I'm going to go through these images, and Nurujun, stop me when you want to talk about something. The first one is one of the schools that her brother created, and let's see. Okay, are you all seeing this?
Yeah.
Yes, we see all the pictures.
Yeah. Can we go one by one, making them big, Elichu?
Yes, I'm trying to get to the list. Would have been better. I managed it before. Okay, this is at Qasem Soleimani Memorial.
So what we're seeing right now,
This
Ellie,
is-
is all of your pictures in small little windows. So I think you
Okay, let me close the Zoom and just open my. Okay, let me see if this gets any better. Okay, are you seeing me flipping
not
them?
at all yet.
Ellie, while you're working on getting the pictures big, could I jump in and talk a little bit?
Sure.
Yes. So for me, I have seen the U.S. Sort of arming itself against Iran, and I know from the history of the U.S. war since World War II, one thing that the U.S. does is they isolate the country that they're going to attack next, basically. We saw this very clearly with Saddam Hussein. We saw it with the war in Bosnia. And we saw it here just before we left for Iran. We saw an exchange of missiles between Israel and Iran. And for me, I could see the U.S. Propaganda machine demonizing Iran by isolating it, and we wanted to provide another avenue for Iran to express itself to the West on their own terms. And one way that we saw to do that is to establish a section of WILPF, Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, that Nuri and I have been long-term members of. And through the connection of WILPF, we would have give Iranian women the opportunity to express themselves to the organization of WILPF. I should mention that WILPF has sections in, I think it's about 70 countries around the world, but not in Iran. Also, I would like to say about this slideshow, the purpose of our delegation was to organize, to speak with Iranian women in Iran and organize a group in Iran that could form a section of WILPF. I'm not a documentarian. The pictures are all pictures from my phone. And for technical reasons, Nuri's phone was not very usable in Iran. Mine was. But I'm not used to taking pictures in a setting like the meetings we had with many, many women in universities, in government offices, in private businesses, etc. So the pictures I have are mostly tourist-type pictures, and they're in random order because that I did not realize they were going to be organized into a slideshow. So I sent them to Ellie in the order that I found what I thought would be interesting. So we're going to take a trip through a trip to Iran in random order. With that, Ellie, can you put things up on the screen?
Are you seeing the images?
So let's do what you did to show them before we got on the program. And I'm considering this a pause,
Yeah.
and I'll be editing most of this because unfortunately, Alan, when you were speaking, all we were seeing was the little screenshots of the slides. So how did you get in when we were doing it the first time?
Okay, I got out of Zoom. I went into my folder of the pictures and started scrolling through them.
You clicked on
But
the folder, hit you for sharing. You clicked on the window that you want to share, right? Which is the folder.
Yes.
You know what you might want to do? Let's try opening up one that first photo. And
are you seeing anything different? Oh, God. Okay, let me just close it. How about now?
Still nothing.
We're not sharing screen yet.
Yeah. So yeah, you need to share screen. That's how we were able to see you.
Yeah, we did that. Let me see.
Yes, and she has to double
Sorry
click.
about this.
So while she's taking a minute to work on that, I want to make a pitch.
Thank you.
This upcoming trip, we live in Los Angeles. It would really help Friendship with Iran if we could get somebody famous to go.
Right.
You guys know more famous people than I do. You might know somebody that even a small blip on the media would help Iran by bringing the eyes. Once people, that's all. My pitch. That's all.
We would love.
So we're working on a couple of long shot famous people. Jeffrey Sachs is one of them.
If you could help us.
Yeah, we would like your help on that. Another one is Medea Benjamin. She has written a couple of books about Iran.
And she had been to Iran.
And about the propaganda war of the U.S. against Iran. Those are long shots. We would like to take somebody famous. But,
or you, if you would come.
But anyway, while we're working on the slides, I would like to say that both of my parents were scientists. My mother was fairly well known as a discoverer of vitamin B12. So I knew women in science pretty well. And a memory of two different women that we visited. One was at a women's university in Tehran. She gave us a tour of her laboratory. And when I say her laboratory, the way things are organized in science is you have a head of a laboratory and then you have people, where did that picture come from?
It's ready.
We're getting better at this now. And I was very impressed with that laboratory. And another woman in a university in Isfahan was the head of an organization which we would have think of as a corporation in this country, but it was folded into the university, a research group that developed hybrid seeds for use in Iranian agriculture. And the head of that was a woman, and she had been head of that for a decade or so.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, Alan. What I'm going to do right now, just to get us back on track, is that for a second there, Nuri, we could, Ellie, we could actually see a slide that you were showing. So, yeah, let's do this. Because I'm going to be editing this video. I'm going to pause the conversation here so that after we're done with the conversation, we can go back to sharing the slides and get that going. Okay, now we're on the first slide. So why don't?
Okay, let me see if I can flip through it now.
Okay, I will narrate this. This was towards the end of our trip when we visited Nuri's hometown of Fasa, where we visited, I don't know how many schools, about a half a dozen schools that they had, her and her siblings had been funding. This is a picture of one of those elementary schools. The gentleman in the foreground is Nuri's older brother, 93-year-old Hassan Ranagi.
Dr. Ranagi.
And he's been the organizer of this funding to Iranian school. Oh, here we are in...
Okay, figure it out.
Here we are in the
All right.
Qasem Soleimani Museum in Tehran with three members of the delegation. I'm on the, as you can see the picture, I'm on the left. Next to me is Adelia Karavaka. She was a very important member of the delegation. She was a former international president of WELF during the 2000 teens. And so she was very helpful in making a connection between the women that we organized in Iran and the International Organization of WELF. And then next to that, in the very colorful outfit, is my wife, Nuri, wearing her Palestinian colors. And finally, a guide to the museum. In the background, it looks like General Soleimani there, but that is actually a wax figure, life-size wax figure next to the... Oh, by the way, if you're not familiar with who Qasem Soleimani is, he is the general of the, I forget what the Iranian Defense Forces are called, that he was special unit.
IRGC.
IRGC. He was assassinated.
He was
by
the
the Trump
mastermind.
government just
of-
in early 2020. I'm sorry, Ali. Go ahead.
Yeah, he was the mastermind of coalition of all the forces in the Middle East. Ansarullah, Hamas, Hezbollah, in Syria, in Iraq, and Iran, what they are targeting right now. Okay.
And it
Okay,
was
let's
built
just
by Trump.
go through this fast.
Okay, this the gentleman on the right here is a very important member of our delegation, Darius Sajadi. He was the one that had all the connections everywhere in Iran, but most importantly at universities and in the government. And we are at the tomb of one of Shiraz's famous poets. I think this is Hafez.
Yeah.
And then Nuri and me also with him. Here we're in Persepolis. Again, this is Mr.
2000.
Sajadi, Nuri, and myself. This was what I have learned in history is the city that was the capital of Iran that was destroyed by Alexander when he swept through the Middle East 2,500 years ago. What we learned from our guide there is this was not a capital of Iran, of Persia, excuse me. It was merely a lead ceremonial place where the royal entourage stayed for a few weeks just before and just after the Persian New Year, which is the vernal equinox. And then they moved on to the summer political capital. And then later in the year, they moved on to the winter political capital. But this was a ceremonial site and not a political capital as we recognize it.
But this is 2,500 years ago.
And here again is the trio of us. I think this is at Sadi's tomb. I'm not sure about that.
Right, Sadi's tomb in Shiraz.
And go ahead, Ellie.
This was two poets.
Okay, we have like 60 something images.
This was
so
the poet.
I'm going to
Two
go a
poets
little
in
fast.
Shiraz.
Yeah, Iran is famous for its poets. Rumi is the best one currently known in the U.S., but there were Omar Khayyam was well known a little before Rumi got famous in this country. But in Iran, two of the most famous poets are Hafez and Sadi. Both of them are from Shiraz, and both of them have tombs in Shiraz, which we visited. Okay, Ellie.
Okay, So, this is Shah Chirag. This is brother of one of the imams, and it's a holy shrine.
And
Do you want to add anything?
yes, and I don't remember whether this was in Shiraz or Isfahan.
It was in Shiraz.
It's in Shiraz.
This is
And
Shiraz.
there are two halves to this mosque, a women's half and a men's half. And Nuri and I got separated. We went through this gorgeous mosque. There might be another slide here of that. And she had to wear a temporary hijab. This, I don't remember this slide.
Okay, these are now my slides. This is the theater. I'm going to go fast through my slides and stop when Nuri and Alan want to add something. This was a visit to a palace in north of Tehran. This is just the area. There are some meetings we had at Hotel Sheraton. Another one of those meetings. She's a famous anchor for Press TV. The lady on the left. She's American.
She's born in New Orleans, and I was very impressed with how fluent she was in Farsi. And as Ellie says, she's a famous anchor on Iranian TV. Go ahead, Ellie.
Okay, these are now some views of the street. I'm going to go pass through them fast. This is downtown Tehran, which is the more historic areas. Again, some of the buildings. And then we are at a lecture for Nurian Allen at a university in Tehran. And here we are at the U.S. Embassy, the captured U.S. Embassy. Nuri Jun and Allen can add some. Let me just go through some of these images. And this seems to be, these are wax statues of the students who put the shredded bits together. These are all the hearing equipment to listen in on phone calls and whatnot. This is the entrance, a beautiful building. Okay, so do you want to say anything about this visit, Alan? And
Well,
Nuri?
yes. First of all, American Embassy is known as the Den of Espionage in Iran. I think that was even a name that was displayed on the entrance, the street entrance to the embassy. And I was very shocked and impressed with how much undercover spying that was done, where the headquarters of that was inside of the American Embassy, that covered all the Middle East and information about all of the countries around Iran as well as Iran that was gathered there. And there was one picture that I was impressed with. Was that shredded paper, Ellie?
Yes.
The so-called hostage crisis, which was the students of Iran invading the U.S. Embassy about not quite a year after the Khomeini government was formed. And the Americans, in a rush, shredded many of the secret documents that were stored in the embassy there. And this is a picture of the overflowing shredded paper. The students were very enterprising, and it took them 6 years to put all of these shredded papers back together. And there are something like 20 different volumes of, they put together books of these reconstructed shredded documents.
Which is illegal in the United States.
And published them, about 20 books or so. But I also wanted to say the hostage crisis is a phrase that really grates the teeth of Iranians, because the reason the students took over the embassy was because the experience of the coup 25 years earlier that again was coordinated from the U.S. Embassy. They were afraid the U.S. Was planning with something else, and they wanted to stop it. And they treated the so-called hostages very well. But is there anything? Shall we go on to the next slide, or Ellie?
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go through the next ones fast and stop at the parliament. So this is a famous cafe that during the coup d'etat was the place of gathering of all the intellectuals and all the plannings. It was shut down for many years, and it was 10, 15 years ago was opened, and now again is the hangout place of the intellectuals. And now we are at the Afghani school that Nouri initiated in Tehran. Here the kids of different ages. They took us to lunch. Here's Nouri with her
And
Afghani
this is the
hat.
director of the Afghani school there. Yes, with
Yeah, Nouri, you want to add something about your
Yeah,
Afghani
there
school?
are 1,800 Afghani children in Tehran that we built school for them, and I am regularly supporting them. And we are planning to build Afghani school in Shiraz. They are really because of U.S. war in Afghanistan and their migration to Iran. They lost everything. They lost their homeland and also Iranian government does not treat them like Iranian citizens. So, and unfortunately, I just heard from Pakistan and Iran that they are expelling some Afghani refugees. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to add something. We had a presentation from a PhD student, Afghani lady, the past 40 years history of Afghanis in Iran. She said that Afghani girls got to go to school, got to graduate, went to college, and now we have 10,000 Afghani ladies with master's degrees or bachelor's degrees that are either working in Iran or getting jobs in Dubai or Norway and so on and so forth. So that's the ranking of World Economic Forum. Iran single-handedly has promoted Afghani women beyond what Afghanistan ever did.
Yeah, they have college.
This is another college we visited for women.
International.
Okay, again, these are just sightseeing Bazaar of Tehran in the north. I'm going to go fast through them. It's just visuals of us having breakfast. Then the bazaar itself is abundant, beautiful displays.
Yeah, I would like to say, go back one, Ellie, is the abundance that we saw in the bazaar, which sort of belies the idea of sanctions. Everywhere there was very abundant displays of food, and I was rather surprised at that. But I also saw something which surprised me. When a customer buys something from one of these bins, after the customer leaves, the storekeeper goes back and resupplies the bin, and so that they're always full like this. And I had to guess that behind the scenes, that even though the country is subjected to severe sanctions, those sanctions are being absorbed by the people as a whole, and not by some sort of hierarchy of people, deserving people and undeserving people. And I don't know if I'm saying that very clearly, but I was impressed with the solidarity of the Iranian people in the face of these sanctions. Go ahead, Ellie.
Of ours. He's about 100-year-old PhD economy, former communist activist, always been beaten up by all kinds of regimes. Anyway, and here we are at the parliament. So I'm just going to go quickly through these pictures, and Nurijun and Alan, please talk about our visit to the parliament and visit with the 9 ladies members of parliament. Here are 3 of them.
Yeah, each of the ladies spoke in turn,
here's
and I guessed it was either in order of their importance or in order of their age, because a more mature woman started off and quite a young woman ended when they gave their introduction. And as I understood it, in that group of 9 women, there was a cabinet minister and a head of a committee in the parliament. And there were also some young women that were members of parliament. I'm guessing they were not older than 30. I don't know that, but that was my impression. Go ahead, Ellie.
Yeah, she's one who's very active in international committees. This lady at the head of the table.
Yeah.
And we are hoping, and in our second trip to Iran, have another meeting with them, and we want to review the human rights report. Parts that we have problem with, parts are biased, like they say Iran is at a higher ranking level of human quality of life. It's risen up to 129. And then when you go to the preface and you open the actual chart, Iran is at 75. And this was presented to the UN at Geneva. Still is much better than being 143 of 147. So we are hoping to have meeting with them, go over a few of these issues. We know there are struggles at the parliament about death penalty, about women's rights in divorce or honor killings and so on and so forth. So we want to offer them our support and see what we can do to help. And okay, this is the tomb of Khomeini. I'm going to go through it fast. We visited on our way to Isfahan. Sorry, everything is backwards. Okay, this is inside of the tomb. Now we are in Isfahan. This is Shah Abbas Hotel, which is a 5-star hotel, very expensive. We didn't stay there. Oh, now we are in Qom, at the university in Qom. More of Shah Abbas Hotel. Shah Abbas was a famous king of Iran that built many of the monuments in Isfahan. The garden of Shah Abbas Hotel. And these are the monuments of Isfahan, which are amazing. Then they took us to a very fancy mall with a lot of fancy cars. And I keep wondering, how are people of Iran starving if they were hanging out at these malls? This was a wonderful occasion. They have these traditional gyms where only men are allowed. They exercise with massive baton-like things, play music. They had the
Down
sessions
syndrome.
for kids with Down syndrome. And this kid is probably 15, 16 years old. They had their performance. We all clapped and cheered, and parents were there, and we were there. And he comes out and he wants to take a picture, and he hugs us. He has no idea about religious laws that he's a teenager where women is not supposed to touch us, hug us, kiss us. So that was quite sweet. Back to the small. This is the tomb of Karim Khan, who was the very progressive minister of Iran, and this is maybe more than 200 years ago. That this is Kerman, no? The king of the time, his mother, who was queen for a month, she ordered assassination of this very progressive minister. So we're at the tomb, and the kids are on a school trip. They're all excited to take pictures with us. This is Adelia in the middle of the picture. This is the scene where they do cut his artery. These are wax statues, and I believe this is my last image. Sorry it took so long, and off we go. Okay. Now I have to stop sharing. So anyway, we do hope that some of you guys, we can interest you to come and visit Iran. If not, if you can assist us finding contacts for Jeffrey Sachs. Most importantly, we really love to take Jeffrey Sachs with us, or Code Pink. They have already sent a delegation to Iran.
Several times they went to Iran.
Several times, yeah. Jeffrey Sachs or anybody who discusses Iran without prejudice. We'd like to invite them to go with us. We can facilitate the visa.
Yeah.
They are cooperating with us.
And you really will enjoy anybody going, because unbelievable. It's the land of love and education. Truthfully, the land of love. Amazing people grab you in the street and invite you for dinner and beg you to come and stay with them. Very, very interesting people. Very interesting. Yeah.
Those are beautiful, very beautiful pictures. Yeah. They're colorful too in those markets. Amazing. Abundance of variety.
Yeah, and the streets are active. All the shops are open until 10 p.m. I'm so homesick after this that I decided I'm going to move to Iran for a year. Sell my house in Costa Rica.
Wow. Okay. Do we have any questions? That was perfect timing there on the presentation. So, okay, we got Rick raising. I see Rick raising his hand. Okay, I see some hands come up. Why don't we go with Rick, and then we'll go with Dave and Swanji.
Yeah, so this is a very interesting presentation, and we really appreciate you guys, you all giving it. So what I find is, like, if you're asking for someone to be involved, it's kind of like the things that we send out in order to ask people to be speakers. We give them information on the group that we're doing, that we have going, and the ask and stuff like that. Have you guys already prepared something like a document that you would send to your your first choice of people that about getting them to go and giving solid dates and stuff like that?
Thank you for asking that. Not yet, but we should.
Okay.
You are right.
So I would encourage you. I mean, we can help in one end to get something to Medea Benjamin, since she's joined us for a lot of things. But like I said, I find that when you send something as a request, the information that you give them should be pretty complete but concise. The basics for it's easier to ask for what you want when what you want is clear. So I would encourage you guys to do that, and then if you want to forward something like that to me and Steve, we can probably get it at least for her to the right channels.
Let's do that.
Yeah, there's the talk of probably August 2nd on for 2 weeks with a major seminar and definitely visit to the parliament. But as the visa process is a bit lengthy, we have to start sooner getting names that they're asking us to get some names. But I'm sure we can draft a plan for them. Like I'm sure they would be interested to attend the major seminar that would be a wolf in Farsi will be announced, and we're going to get that is in process, and visit with the members of the parliament. I don't think anybody else of groups out here have that kind of access, but we can get their ear. They can sit with members of parliament. Although I know Medya Benjamin met with our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Zarif, who was fired.
All of that is really good context for you guys to put that letter together and have something concise that we can forward on. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Will do.
Sure.
Will do. It's really, really fun to be in Iran. I would like Alan to explain his experience of traffic and all.
Maybe.
We're answering questions here.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, we got Dave next and then Swanji.
Good morning. First, I want to thank McGregor Eddie for bringing Nuri and Ellie and Alan into our circle. This is so important. And I wanted to ask you if you're familiar with a film which I think would give anyone on this Zoom a good idea of what happened in Iran in 1953. There is a documentary film called Coup 53, Coup, C-O-U-P, Coup 53, and it's a marvelous documentary. It's profound, but it's also a lot of fun to watch, and you really learn a lot of the history of Iran as it was affected by Western powers like the UK and the US. The filmmaker's name is Taghi Amirani, and you can see the film by going to the website, and that is Coup 53, C-O-U-P 53.com, coup53.com, and it will give you a very powerful sense of how the relations between Iran and the US have gone so wrong since our government, overthrew their duly elected President Mossadegh in 1953. A lot of this was about oil, and it shows that the U.S. government loves democracy if the democratic process in that country gives the U.S. what it wants.
Yeah.
So, do you want to? I just wondered if you wanted to say anything about the film.
Thank you. We will look at that.
Oh yes, I think you'll be very, very pleased with the way the film is shot and put together.
Dave, can you put the information about the film in the chat?
Yeah.
I'll try to overcome my technical reluctance and do that.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So then we have questions. We'll go to Swanji next, and then after that, I see hands from Dick, Carol Francis, and Michael. So Swanji.
So I basically have two questions. So I had a friend for a while who I mostly corresponded with either over the internet or by mail, and she asked me to in the mail not to put anything that would be overtly Christian, because she was fearing that would lead to repercussions. So I would like to know what you know about how Christians are treated in these days in Iran. And also I noticed that the Iranian women were dressed a little differently than you as the visitors, whether that was by choice or whether there's also a rule of the way they have to dress.
Yeah. Iran is a 86 million population country with lots of different ethnicities, like Kurds, Turks, which is Azerbaijani, and Lur, and Baluchis,
there are
Armenians. So there are different languages, different ethnicity, and different religion in Iran. We have the second largest Jewish population after Israel in Iran.
In the Middle East.
In the Middle East. In the Middle East, after Israel, Iran is the second largest Jewish country in the Middle East. So, and this is about thousands of years. It's not about a few months ago. And Iran is well known of how 2,000 years ago Jews were prosecuted, and Iran saved them and brought them in and protect them. Iran is also known for the first
religion, monotheistic religion.
For the first monotheistic religion, which is Zoroastrian. So we have Zoroastrian, we have Baha'is, which is very recent. We have Muslims, we have Christians, we have Jews, and all other. Also, Iran is known for all these people for thousands of years, they lived together with peace. And when you go there, you see everybody really lovingly relating to you as strange as you might be. You are not strange to Iran, no matter what background they have. So I had so many friends from Jewish friends that recently died. I had Baha'i friends. That Baha'i is supposedly one of the most antagonistic. Islam is most antagonistic to Baha'i coming from Iran, and in a way they see it against Islam. And my mother and me I had a Baha'i girlfriend and we went to their home. It was amazing because the lady was apologizing for his place, not her place, not being pure or sanity sanctity good enough for my mother to pray. And my mother was saying that, oh, this is Kaaba for me, this is Mecca for me. You are generous allowing me to pray here at your home. So it's amazing how the love, truly love of people taking over everything else.
Okay, I wanted to answer the question about the hijab. This is not a perfect analogy, but when I started off in the professional world, I could not go to work without a coat and tie on. Coat and tie are, for me at least, uncomfortable to wear, but it was a required way to dress in a professional situation. To me, it seemed to me after being in Iran that the hijab is something similar to that. It's something that is almost, you wear it because that's the dress code that is appropriate for that country. And I have to say that when we visited private homes, generally speaking, the women did not wear even hair covering, and also the reason I think of this as a professional dress is on the streets, the women we saw also had a head cover, but it was basically a scarf that was more around their neck than around their head, and they could pull it over their head if they were called on it, and that didn't happen very often. I don't know if that answers the question that was asked about that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Just as a reminder, if you can make your responses as concise as possible, because we have a few more questions. Thank you.
We have 3 more questions and about another 10 minutes left. So let's go to Dick.
Yeah, well, I wanted to just kind of chime in on a couple of things because I lived and worked in Iran. But if you're limiting to this questions, then I'll pass.
Oh,
If you can make it quick, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, well, real quickly, I went to Iran in 1964 as a missionary intern. I had just gotten a degree from Princeton Theological Seminary, and off I went to Iran and lived and worked in Tehran for a year, although I traveled all over the country. And I just have to say that I didn't go there to convey anything to anybody. They conveyed to me. I mean, it was the education of Richard, and Mossadegh had just been overthrown 11 years prior, and a lot of fresh memory. And the college students, when they saw me, I mean, it was just like, and we'd go out into the garden areas apart from any buildings because of SAVAK, the Secret Service, which the U.S. helped Iran to set up, and there were listening devices all over the buildings. But we'd go out in the garden areas, and they'd talk to me about the impact, what it was like to have their democratically elected and much loved and respected Mossadegh kicked out, and only to have the peacock throne reestablished in Iran, which is known for its tyranny. And it was just so obvious. I would go to have lunch at the embassy, which was just down the street from Alborz Foundation, where I taught English as a second language. And I hear one conversation, which is, the Shah is thoroughly fortified. Iran is an extension of our policy in the Middle East. I'm oversimplifying, but there was just such a confidence and kind of like, we got this under control, folks. And then I sit down with my Iranian friends and some Iranian professionals, like my dentist or my doctor, and they'd say, well, you know, we're going to have a counter-revolution here, and it's going to be a bunch of primitive imams. So anyway, it was just truly amazing, the stark blindness and deafness, tone deafness in the embassy, as opposed to what I was hearing on the streets and in the classrooms and from the professional community that I happen to know. So, you know, maybe this is some kind of a, you know, important tale that needs to be understood in many different cultural contexts. How we can be so oblivious to what's really going on. It's just, and since then, history has repeated itself over and over and over and over again. And the Middle East is in the worst quagmire than it's ever been at this point. So, and when I look at what we're doing in Iran, I mean, relative to Israel and so forth, we just can't hear. So I just needed to toss this in. And one other quick little thing. I was amazed at the cosmopolitan nature of life in Tehran, the Parisian fashions and the sophistication, really, even of the most humble cab drivers. I mean, they knew a lot about U.S. politics. And so I came away humbled, really humbled. And I felt that Iran was a missionary to me as opposed to mine being a missionary to Iran. So I just had to toss that in. It wasn't perfect then. I'm not trying to romanticize or glorify Iran. I mean, these are human beings and they have their flaws, and I don't agree with everything that's happened in Iran since or at that time. Certainly not at that time under the Shah. But suffice to say that I don't know how we proceed with this ugly American now in the Oval Office. In the traditional ugly American sense, it's just, I don't know. It's so difficult. But anyway, thank you so much for the presentation. It was really wonderful.
And thank you for that vignette about your time in Iran. That was really good to hear. Thank you.
Oh, can I just add one quick thing?
We got 2 questions, and we only got 4 minutes. So, but thank you. So, okay, next is Carol Francis, and then
Thank you. At the beginning, you were talking about some document that came out by some group criticizing Iran, and that you were beginning the process of responding to it. Is that going to be available? Because that sort of thing is what I think we really need to pass around, is the right wing says this, and here's what's really happening. The right wing says that, and here's what were really happening. So are you doing a response to it like that? And would you send it to ICUJP when you have it?
Ellie John.
I'm sorry, I was trying to put the Jana.
Okay. If Ellie, do you want to take that?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes.
It was it was World Economic Forum, and also other American sources. They talk about Iran, or Israel. They talk about Iran as being a backward country and all of that thing. Ellie June, you can answer that. And I have this book, really, this is a very good book, Orientalism by Edward Said. Orientalism by Edward Said. Excellent book that talks about Western view of African, Middle East, and those countries, how they feel about them, how they judge them.
Well, this echoes what Rick, I believe your name was, said, that the U.S. is blind to what's happening in Iran, and that's Said's book really covers well how people in the West just talk to each other about the Middle East and perpetuate views that are very far removed from reality. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Orientalism, Edward Said.
I'm sorry. I was putting our contacts in the group chat. If you need to contact us further, we would love to have any of you as a guest speaker. McGregor Eddie next weekend. She's going to be our guest next Saturday to present World Beyond War, and we will be presenting our studies. We have two study committees. This is all a very new group. We are about maybe 80, 90 people, 20 always active. And one group is studying articles. And the one that we're studying is the recent article by UN rapporteur Sui, I forgot her name, 22-page, but human rights situation in Iran is partly fair, partly is her view, her Western view on things. So parallel to that, we are studying Orientalism because it tells you, like, why are we called Persia? Because they wrote the encyclopedia. You know, they didn't ask us what our name is. We had to go back to the UN, change the name to Iran. Persia, Herodotus named it Persia, and we've been Persia up until recently that they went and changed. Or Turkey is actually Turkey. Egypt is Mesr. Down to your name gets written and defined by Western encyclopedia and knowledge of the East. So we're studying these two at the same time. Nurjan, did I
Yes,
answer? Or you
thank
want me to go over the World Economic? Yes.
Thank you. Rick put some information in the chat. You can go take a look there. Okay, so our last question is from Michael. We're running a little bit over time, but we're still doing good. So go ahead, Michael.
Okay, I'll try to be brief. I want to make it clear that I oppose, all the U.S. attacks and Israeli attacks on Iran and the sanctions and so on. But I just want to remind people that the U.S. has had a mixed role over a long period of time. If you think since the overthrow of Mossadegh, I remind people that the Iran-Contra affair, where Reagan sold weapons to the Khomeini regime, and the U.S. role in the Iran-Iraq war, going back and forth between the two sides to keep that war going and bleed both countries. I just wanted to ask, because I looked at the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom site, and they have a campaign about women political prisoners in Iran, and I wonder if you wanted to say anything about that.
Yeah, it's interesting to know that I was in United States for 11 years, and then during Shah, I went back, and the relationship between United States and, even though I was American, dual citizenship, I was put in solitary confinement in Iran, in Evin prison, that was built by United States after overthrow of Dr. Mossadegh. I was there for 3 months in prison, and there was Iranian Student Association in United States with yeah.
نه میدونم میگم من میخوام درس بخونم.
Rick, can you silence 303?
Got it.
That was our treasurer, actually, from Iran.
Okay.
All right.
She keeps on taking herself off of mute, so
Okay,
thank you.
Text her.
Okay, so we are at our time to wrap up now. Did you want to finish? Was that Nuri who was speaking, or Ellie who was speaking? Oh, you're on mute, Nuri. I think you're trying to say something. I mean, yeah, you're on mute. Were you trying to say something?
Okay, may I just say something about the
Yes,
executions
yes.
of women? We are currently competing for WILF membership with another group, which is called Women Life Freedom. They declared revolution September 16 of 2 years ago. And we are nonviolent. We believe in evolution, not revolution, because we've personally experienced revolution. It's a brutal thing, powerful thing. It builds so much and it destroys so much. We don't want to experience that again. So we are working with this government, with the women in Iran, and we are in conflict with these people. Reports coming from them is, I believe, twisted, and I believe their base is mostly outside of Iran. Whereas when they declared the revolution, there were pockets of like 100 people coming out on the street, and that was it. So in the report that we are studying in 2004, I believe, they said there's been 935 executions. But it doesn't open it. When you go to the source, we condemn, again, Nuri and I condemn any kind of executions. But when you go to the source, there were 6 for political reasons, where they picked arms or they were in cahoots with separatist groups. Most of others were for murder, rape, or distribution
But
of
they were
drugs. So we are opening all of these, but the headline goes to this kind of people, doesn't go to the fellow countrymen in shadows. That's the whole purpose of the name.
Thank you, Ellie. Quante, I see your hand is up. We are very short on time, so, but if you can ask
Very
a
quick.
question
Yes,
or
very
comment.
quick.
Okay.
It's just a question. You mentioned that you were associated with Baha'is. How do you think that the current regime is treating the Baha'is in Iran, according to what you know?
not good. Not just the current regime, even before Baha'ism was condemned by Muslims or government. I personally disagree with any execution, especially, but the government is not treating Baha'is right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we really thank you, Nuri, Alan, and Ellie.
Thank you. I myself have been in prison in solitary confinement through U.S. rather than in Iran, but through U.S. So the connection during Shah was a way that any student in United States that was not supporting Shah, if they would go to Iran, they would put them in solitary confinement with the help of United States, which they created Sabak, United States, which they created even Evin prison.
Well, thank you very much for coming today and sharing with us this. It was very informative. You are now, as our chair Steve Rohde would say, you are now card-carrying members of ICU-JP. So with that, we will now go to general. Are there any general announcements about things going on that the group should know about?
Randy had an announcement.
Randy? Okay, great.
First of all, just a shout out to Nargis Mohammadi, one of the